So welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here. For today, what can I say? She's back. The incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the one and only, the legendary, the incredible Carla. Carla, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
I like it. What better way to have an incredible, super badass evening and an epic start of the week for sure than to be chatting with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. I love it. Now, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, helps a lot. But also in the description below, you're going to find all of Carla's social media. By this point, you should know why she's super badass. But in case you're not, you're going to find out here as well. So, without further more, let's begin. So for today, on a previous episode, which was like 7 months ago, like around that time, something around that,
So,
we spoke about how how your career started, what were some of the challenges, things like that. So for today, as we are about to close this year and to start a new one, I just have a couple of questions here to find out what's your plan for 2025, right? Now, with that being said, I will start with the first question, which is, this past year has been a roller coaster for everyone, right? So how was 2024 shape you both personally and professionally?
yeah. I got out of my comfort zone a lot during this past year. English isn't working right now. I signed up on ClassPass, it's just a little thing that allows you to go to classes. You pay a monthly fee, you go to these classes and everything. And for me, I found that I couldn't really go to places by myself a lot. So I would always ask a friend to go with me or something like that. And most of the time, no one was available. So I really wanted to push myself to go to these things by myself and make sure that I got out of my comfort zone and allowed myself to go through it regardless of the anxiety I was feeling. Yeah, and I also recently went to a networking event for actors, and thankfully I had 2 friends along with me. So there's a good, I think, 200 to 300 people at this event, and it was networking. So we would walk around the venue, me and my 2 friends, and we would actually take turns on who was going to speak first to go up and talk to someone. And it took us all out of our comfort zone. So this year has been a lot of just getting out of my comfort zone and learning more about myself.
There you go. I mean, it's just part of the whole experience, right? I do have discovered that sometimes whenever you want to do something, in life will be kind of showing you or hinting you that maybe you should do it on your own,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, well, at least, for me, I started this, when I had the idea of Chat with Dan back then, I wanted to do it with a friend of mine, but my friend wasn't too very interested in that, so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it on my own, and here we are. So, yeah. And tell me, can you share like a moment from this year that really tested you, and how did you find your way through it?
Really just going to these classes and getting that comfort zone was something that really tested me, because like I mentioned, right, I had a lot of anxiety going, and there was some times where I would be getting ready to go and the thoughts in my mind were saying, maybe we shouldn't go, maybe let's just stay here and be in the comfort of our own home. And I pushed myself, and going to these events or doing these classes by myself, I've really helped myself be really more resilient, just pushing through and saying, I have to do this. If I don't do this, then I'm not going to grow, or I'm not going to learn more about myself.
There you go. And was there like a particular role or project in 2024 that left like a lasting impact on you somehow?
I would say I actually didn't book anything in 2024, which is what happens. Life happens. And I did countless auditions, and from the networking event, I did book something for 2025. So in January, I'm doing a little voice acting thing. So I'm excited for that. Can't go into too much detail with that right now. But I would say the one thing that left a lasting impact on me was definitely this audition that I did actually a couple months ago. basically the character had brain cancer that I was going to be getting into and playing. And due to copyright reasons and auditions, I can't say too much of what the lines were saying, but I can kind of paraphrase with she did say. But basically, she said that us as humans, as people, the only thing we really have in our lives is time. And sometimes, regardless of if you have a terminal illness or if you're just going through the motions and you're perfectly healthy, you need to make sure that you have that time to enjoy the simple things and be with family, be with friends, and not spend it worrying.
Mm,
So that's something that really stuck with me, and I kept that in my
mm.
heart.
I mean, life is too short, right? And sometimes you just take a second to actually changing it 360 into, that once you take a second to kind of stop a little bit, you realize that, that we only have one life, and what better way to enjoy it or to honor it by at least try to do the best of it each day on it. You know what I mean? So, mm, okay. And the industry has faced many shifts recently, right? I mean, with the strikes, like all of that. So, how have you adapted to these changes, and what stood out the most about this year specifically?
Okay. Yeah, I've done a lot of training recently. I took a singing class. I'm currently still enrolled in that. So just really experiencing how the different ranges of my voice and everything. And I've done some work with voice acting. I'm learning American Standard right now so that I can go in and work in the States because I live up in Canada. So our accents are a little different. And just taking my time to really learn things about myself, learn things about the industry, about my craft. I even recently started learning about comedy and just seeing how it's completely different than all the other genres and how different techniques have to be used in order to even get into comedy.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And looking back at your journey, how do you feel, like how much you evolved as an actor compared to, where you started?
Just definitely a lot of just learning about myself and cutting out the limitations I had on myself. So even just going through with the comedy, there was a lot of times where I had those thoughts of, I can't do this. I'm not funny, right? And just evolving and going from the full 9 years of experience I've had with this craft and that I continue going through with is just learning that if I have these limitations, I'm not going to go as far as I want to go. So I need to make sure that I take that time to step back and realize that these are just these walls I'm placing on myself, and I need to overcome these so I can keep going forward. So I've really evolved into allowing myself to understand and know that this is a craft, this is a long journey, but I'm allowing myself to take this journey and learn stuff about myself and the industry and my craft.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what's a lesson you've learned this year that you wished you knew earlier in your career?
Kind of going back off of the last question with that, the limitations, just getting rid of the limitations and allowing myself to keep moving forward, regardless of all the no's, regardless of what life throws at me.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Mhm.
it's for sure it's a challenge, but it's part of life. I think that sometimes there's changes every time, and I think it's important for you to kind of take them in and try to evolve at the same time. Try to get as best as possible. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Mhm.
okay. And has there been like a specific moment when you realize just how far you've come as an artist?
Yeah. Recently, I know last time we had this talk, I was talking about being vulnerable on the screen and allowing myself to finally get into the tears and the crying. I think now it's just that memorization. So I take the lines and I allow myself to learn what my character's saying, why they're saying it. Then I have to get into it and just get into that memorization so I can make it more of a realistic conversation, right? And so my memorization has gone to the point where I can take a 3-page script and memorize it within 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like it. And acting is such a personal craft, right? So how this year challenge or reaffirm your connection to the art?
Just learning more about myself and knowing that this is something that I do truly love, and I want to make sure that I do pursue this, that I don't allow myself to give up. So, just going to that event I did, I was able to talk with so many amazing people and see and hear their stories and find inspiration from what they've gone through. And they had the cast of the Walter Boys. Some of the cast was there, and we didn't actually. When we went up to them, I think at that point, because we talked to so many people, we didn't really even realize that they were part of that cast. And so they were talking with us, and they were telling us how, yeah, it was their first major role, but it took them a little bit to really get into that mindset and push themselves, and just knowing that they can do that and they're the same age as me. So they could do that, then I can do it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important to have that mindset for sure.
Mhm.
Okay. It's inevitable for me to keep saying that I understand why you're badass.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And tell me, how do you recharge or find inspiration when you're feeling creatively drained?
Yeah. I jump into the meditation, into yoga, into allowing myself to take those breaks, even if they take a couple days, maybe even if it takes a couple hours. But even going out into nature and smelling the roses every once in a while, that really helps with recharging the creativity and allowing myself to sit down and go, okay, now I have that break. I can get back into this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what did 2024 teach you about resilience, and how will you carry that lesson into 2025?
It really taught me about getting out of your comfort zone and getting rid of those limitations. And no, this is definitely a big talk with this today. It's just really getting into that, getting out of the comfort zone, getting rid of the limitations. And it's definitely because I've learned that a lot with myself and with everything that was thrown at thrown my way during this year.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, mm, yeah, my question here is like during those tough moments on, on 2024, how you stay positive or yeah, like focus, let's say. Yeah.
Total and positive, yeah. Yeah, well, really getting into surrounding myself with people who care about me, who support me, who, regardless of the self-doubt and the self-doubt talk in my brain, they're still there to tell me, hey, yes, you got into this craft. Yes, this craft is a lot of no's, but you can't give up. Having those people around me has really helped me stay positive and stay resilient with my craft and yeah, with my acting.
Another that you mentioned that, tell me, are there any like relationships, personal or either professional, that had a particularly meaningful impact on you this year?
Definitely my spouse. He's really been supportive. He doesn't beat around the bush, which is really important to me because it allows me to know that he's not going to be the one of the person saying, "Oh, good job, you're doing amazing," when I didn't do a good job, right? He's still gives me that positivity, saying, you did a good job, but let's keep going. Let's make sure that we've get even better than we were before. Right. And then another person I can think of is my acting coach. She is constantly pushing me to be better. And she's taking classes for herself. And the reason why she's my acting coach is because she always updates herself. And because of her updating, it allows me to get all of the information that is up to date so I can go and act on a global scale rather than just very local.
Mm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what advice would you give to your future self about navigating throughout 2025?
Just keep one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward. There's going to be a lot of no's, but there are going to be yeses as well. And if you take that time to keep pushing forward and staying uncomfortable, you're going to grow. You are going to learn. And yes, it's important to hustle and get your work on, but you still need to stop and smell the roses every once in a while so that you don't become depressed or don't become sad and have those self-doubt moments.
What do you think what do you think that the 13-year-old version of yourself would think about you right now?
I think she'd be proud of me. And she would know that I'm doing my best to make sure that when I get to that point, my life is where I want it to be.
There you go. I'll take it. I like it. And what's a personal resolution you're setting for yourself outside of acting?
To stay uncomfortable.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Why?
Um, I find that if I get too comfortable, I'm not learning and I'm not growing. So I want to spend 2025 really growing and learning more about myself and more about the people around me and so I can actually get into the characters and allow myself to, be better at my craft. So staying uncomfortable basically means to me that I'm growing and learning.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And if you could describe your vision for 2025, but in one word, what would it be and why?
Um, I believe I mentioned that already. The 20 for my life for 2025. Yeah, just staying comfortable. Be that one word. Yeah,
So that one?
uncomfortable. Yeah, we'll go with that one.
Okay, okay, fair enough, fair enough. And if 2024 were a movie, what would it be called, and what genre would it fall under?
I would say we call it My Crazy Life. And I think it would be a mixture of drama as well as comedy.
Okay, there you go. And tell me, if you could sum up the whole 2024, but in a single line, what would it be?
Um, Single line. Let's see here. Sometimes, sometimes you just have to say, fuck it and go for it with delusional confidence.
I like it. I think that's important. Yeah, that's a healthy way of seeing things for sure. Yeah. Now, like what keep yeah like what keeps you motivated? I mean, in our previous interview, we spoke about like what motivates you, but this question is, does the same motivation you told me last time is the same one, or has something changed somehow for this kind of new version of yourself somehow?
I think with motivation, just continuing allowing myself to spend that time outside and enjoying nature to motivate me, but also relax me. And just seeing other people, I think, around my age group that are pursuing this and going forward and allowing myself to not take it as competition or, allowing myself to stay jealous with that and just saying, okay, now I need to work harder. I need to get to that point where I'm feeling more confident that and I'm landing more roles and I'm allowing myself to be better version of me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what advice would you give, to those to those who are either thinking about it to start something new for 2025, for those who wants to kind of pursue their dreams for 2025? Like, what would you say to those, to those people, let's say?
Go for it. You are the only one that knows that you're as scared as you are. Everyone else doesn't really see it. So go for it. Have that delusional confidence, jump into it, and know that you aren't alone, that there are people jumping into this right now. You have to start somewhere. So if you don't start, then you're just going to be there dreaming, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be there and you're going to regret it at your deathbed and see, oh, I could have done this. So stop allowing yourself to have those limitations, and what I mean by limitations is those thoughts of self-doubt saying, oh, I can't be as good as Brad Pitt, for example, right? You can get there, but you need to know that you can keep pursuing it and keep pushing and know that it is a journey and it can be a long journey, but that shouldn't scare you. It should motivate you even more to push and continue being what you want to be, what you want to do.
I mean, it's challenging, right? For sure, to
Yeah.
be kind of in that position. And tell me, what do you think that has been the most important lesson that you learned throughout 2024?
Hmm. To Honestly, to let go of the limitations, to have the positive mindset to keep moving forward regardless of all the no's and all the rejection in this industry.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And my last question. So we can all enjoy and relax after an epic chat here. And I think you know what kind of question would it be. So here it is. What do you think that could be the best title for this episode?
I had a couple in mind. So one, learning to love life between auditions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that one. I think no, let's stick with that one. I like that one.
Learning to love life between auditions?
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan to me. And at the end, what can I say? It's incredible what you do. I love it. Yeah, it's impressive. I mean, we all know that it's difficult. We all know that this, 2024 in general was a kind of a little bit of a crazy year. But the fact that we can rely on people like you who, besides giving us cool stuff, they're also showing us that dreams are possible. I think that is the kind of or at least that's what I take the most about actors, musicians, in general. The fact that you guys between the lines are showing us that everyone can pursue whatever they want if they are kind of perseverant enough and they're constant on that. Of course it's challenging and of course it's tough, but all of you guys are making that happen, and I think that's super cool. And I'm definitely look forward for 2025, and I'm super sure that 2025 it will be an incredible year for you and epic as well. So
Yeah, awesome.
So I want to thank you so much, Carla, for making this happen. I also want to thank those who stayed the whole episode. Let us know what you think in the comments below. But also, as I said in the beginning, you're going to find all of Carla's social media in the description below. Let's follow her. # Team Carla. And again, thank you for making this happen. Keep rocking, keep shining. Have an incredible upcoming Christmas, an incredible New Year. Keep shining out there. And I'll be seeing you in the next one.
Thank you for having me.
All right.